look at the employment market now, the labor market rather, as the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment and the Federal Ministry of Youth Development have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MoU, to facilitate the creation of 2.5 million jobs. So this, they say, is part of the renewed hope agenda of the president. And they also had a collaboration with Safitol Limited. So they're looking at creating 2.5 million jobs, creating pathways for skills development, job placement, and entrepreneurship. Now, this is good. We find that every administration talks about job creation for the youth, and but sometimes we're not impressed with the type of jobs that are created, and it's not really like a continuum. So when another administration comes, it's either they're scrapping that particular initiative, bringing on another, or the initiative itself just looks like an organized way of giving out handouts to people who are not really contributing. I'll give an example of this. The Shopee system, where you had people posted to different ministries, but some of them were not really coming to work. They just come in, sign once in a while, and at the end of the month, they were getting their stipends paid. Some were even reallocating the slots that were given to them to other people. And it became more like a political conversation. We did not want the NDE and the Ministry of Youth Development to go in this direction.
Yeah, I think we can be much more strategic in terms of how we do job creation projects as a country. Because what we have seen is, like you have rightly mentioned, job creation has become like a social service. People just thinking, okay, let's empower people and give them 30,000 or 50,000 or 70,000. But I don't think that's what the economy really needs to survive. I feel that we have to be a lot more strategic in terms of what kind of things we want to do. Now, we are attracting people to come to the mining sector, for example, in Nigeria. Then we must create skills in that regard. That if companies bring in money and they said, we want to invest in Nigerian mining sector, the necessary work or skills that's required for that industry, we must find a way to create it. Or we have petroleum industry. There's a whole lot that's happening, fabrication, welding, and the rest of it. Then we have to position people. I think it was Governor Fashola who did something that was very close to that when he revamped the technical education in Lagos. What he did was those who were doing electrical in the technical education ensured that they got the job for servicing the street lights. It was only the graduates from technical colleges that got those jobs. Those who were doing carpentry ensured that all the desks that were made for classrooms in Lagos were made by those graduates. And that for me was quite strategic and quite innovative. And I think that's what the government of Nigeria can learn from. Now, when we are thinking about skill, we should be looking at it that we are empowering people and taking industry in which they can succeed or help become reproductive. And then we will not be needing expatriates to come from abroad to come do work that our people have energy and the intellectual potential to be able to do, except that they have not been trained toward that direction. When you look at when the robotics started in China, and of course all manner of humanoids were coming, people were thinking it was going to take away job. But what did the Chinese government do? They rechanneled the energy of the youth to begin to work around humanoids and robotics. So they didn't really lose job, but they gave them new skill sets to be able to confront the new workplace. And I think this is kind of things that we can do here in Nigeria.
Great. So one of the reasons, or one of the things that industrialists look at when they want to cite more like a manufacturing hub, or they want to cite a company, they want to cite an establishment, is the availability of manpower. If the manpower that is required to work in those organizations to be able to produce the products that organization is going to produce, if they are not in the immediate environment or within that vicinity that the organization can employ to work in there, then they begin to have a rethink, because the organization would just be stuck in its plan. And I'm glad Doc was saying something about creating those people who have those skills. Sometimes the people who have these skills are available, but there's not been anything, there's no job for them to work. So you see some of them leaving that skill and, moving to another skill set, because they believe there is no market, there is no work, there is no industry where they can go and exercise. So if we are going to look at creating 2.5 million jobs, like the government is saying, the best place that the government should be looking at, agriculture should top the list. Agriculture should top the list. And the government needs to find a creative way to make young people attracted to agriculture. I know there are many young people in agriculture, and if it is the money that will attract young people to come into agriculture, then the government needs to do it. By giving them the necessary education that they need to survive in agriculture, other creative ways that the youth can participate in the agriculture industry. We look at the distribution value chain. I remember speaking to some of the young people who are also in agriculture, and they're talking about fishing and this fish farming, and how when you make loss, like you will lose. But when you make gain, you will make gain. But what determines whether they make gain or loss is having the knowledge to be able to manage, and the technical skills that is required to be able to manage those facilities, so they can, sustain themselves in business. Apart from that, it's really going to be hard, and I don't know how well the government is going to do it. Yeah, we just hope that they have the required initiative as well that they'll put on ground, and the blueprint, which we hope that will materialize.
Okay, so we hope that the Ministry of Labor and Employment and also the Federal Ministry of Youth Development will creatively create this 2.5 million jobs for Nigerian youths.